You meet someone amazing. The connection feels real. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice whispers, "This won't last." They're late replying to a text, and your stomach drops. They seem a little distant, and you're already rehearsing the goodbye. Here's the strange part. Nothing has actually gone wrong. You're grieving a breakup that hasn't happened yet. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken, and you're not too much. There's a name for this, a science behind it, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain does this, and how to finally stop it. Psychologists call it the abandonment schema. Think of it as an invisible architect, quietly designing every relationship you'll ever have, long before you're old enough to choose. It usually starts in childhood, not always with something dramatic. Sometimes it's a parent who was distracted, overwhelmed, or emotionally unavailable, a caregiver who missed your cues, or who was consistent one day and gone the next. Your nervous system learned a lesson early. Connection cannot be trusted to stay. That lesson becomes what psychologists call an internal working model, a mental blueprint for how relationships are supposed to go. It runs in the background of your mind, automatically, outside your conscious awareness. You don't choose to expect abandonment. Your brain just quietly assumes it. But here's where it gets interesting. Researchers Bartholomew and Horowitz mapped this out by looking at two things: how you see yourself and how you see other people. Combine those two views, and you get 4 attachment styles. Secure people see themselves and others positively. But if you see yourself as unworthy while still craving closeness, you become anxious, preoccupied, hungry for reassurance, hyper-aware of every silence. And if deep down you believe both yourself and others are unsafe, you land somewhere more painful, fearful, avoidant. You want intimacy, and you're terrified of it at the same time. It's not a contradiction. It's a nervous system caught between two competing instincts: reach out or protect yourself. Clinically, this is called an approach avoidance conflict, and it's exhausting to live inside. One moment you're pulling someone closer. The next, the second things feel stable. Some part of you starts looking for the exit, not because you want to leave, but because closeness itself has started to feel like danger. Now something surprising happens. A lot of people with this wiring don't just fear abandonment, they unconsciously help create it. Psychologists call this pre-grieving. The theory goes like this: if losing someone feels inevitable, your mind tries to get ahead of the pain. So you start grieving early, hoping it'll hurt less when it actually happens. Except it backfires. You pull away before they do. You act cold at the exact moment you need connection most. You send anxious messages about being left again and again, until the constant fear becomes exhausting for the other person to be around. And eventually, they leave, not because they didn't care, but because the fear of losing them created the very thing you were trying to avoid. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's one of the cruelest tricks the mind plays on people who've been hurt before. There's another layer to this. For some people, this isn't just an attachment style, it's trauma. Psychologists distinguish between PTSD, which is usually tied to a single event, and C-PTSD, complex trauma, which comes from prolonged hurt inside a relationship you couldn't escape. A childhood where love felt unpredictable, where no safe adult was there to help you make sense of the chaos. Growing up this way doesn't always look like abuse from the outside. Sometimes it's quieter than that. It's being the easy kid nobody worried about, while your emotional needs went unnoticed. It's being told you were too sensitive for having a completely normal reaction. It's crying in your room alone because somewhere along the way you learned that no one was coming, so you might as well handle it yourself. Psychologists call this childhood emotional neglect, and it leaves the same fingerprint as louder forms of trauma. A person who learned that their inner world doesn't matter to anyone but them. Over time, this creates what's known as toxic shame, a deep, persistent sense of being fundamentally flawed. So you build a mask, a version of yourself that's easier to love, high-achieving, agreeable, endlessly accommodating. Underneath it, a part of you still believes that if people really saw you, they'd leave too. What most people don't realize is that this isn't just psychological, it's biological. Your nervous system has what's called a window of tolerance, the zone where you feel calm, grounded, and able to think clearly. When fear of abandonment gets triggered, you can get pushed outside that window in two directions. Hyperarousal looks like panic, racing thoughts, a desperate need to check your phone. Hyperarousal looks like shutting down completely, going numb, going quiet, disappearing into yourself. Neither of these is a choice. They're automatic. Your body decided, long before you had the words for it, that hypervigilance or shutdown were the only two ways to survive an unpredictable relationship, and it's still running that same program today, even when the danger is long gone. That second state has a name too: functional freeze. From the outside, it can look like laziness, or like you just don't care anymore. From the inside, it's your body protecting you the only way it knows how. You're not lazy. You're not dramatic. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it learned to do a long time ago, in a home where staying alert was the only way to feel safe. This changes everything about how we should think about people who push others away. Take someone raised by a father who exploded unpredictably, and a mother who quietly shrank herself just to keep the peace. That child absorbs two brutal lessons at once. Other people are dangerous, and my own needs are a burden. Fast forward to adulthood, and you get someone who looks completely put together on the outside, successful, composed, and yet quietly drawn to unstable relationships that feel familiar, because familiar, even when it hurts, feels safer than the unknown. This is the part that trips people up. You don't necessarily fall for people who are kind and steady. You fall for what your nervous system recognizes. So what actually helps? The first step is recognizing this isn't a character flaw. Researchers call the process of healing from this earned security, proof, through repeated experience, that your old blueprint isn't the only possible outcome. Your attachment style isn't a life sentence. It's a pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. Somatic tools can help interrupt the spiral in real time. Something as simple as the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Naming 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, pulls your nervous system back into the present moment, away from the imagined future where everyone leaves. Box breathing works the same way. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. It's not a gimmick. It's a direct signal to your nervous system that you are, in this moment, safe. And then there's the internal work, replacing the old script with a new one. Instead of "I always get left," try "I'm someone who can build real security, one honest relationship at a time." Instead of assuming the worst, you learn to tolerate uncertainty without spiraling into it. Psychologists call the endpoint of this work post-traumatic growth. It's not just the absence of fear. It's the presence of something new, understanding how your past shaped you, learning to regulate your emotions instead of being ruled by them, and slowly rewriting your story from "I am someone people leave" to "I am someone who gets to choose who stays." That shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens in small, unremarkable moments, staying instead of running, speaking up instead of shrinking, letting someone in an inch further than feels comfortable. But it starts the moment you stop asking "what's wrong with me?" and start asking "what happened to me and what do I need now?" If any part of this felt uncomfortably familiar, you're not alone in it, and you're not stuck with it either. If this helped you understand yourself a little better, stick around. There's more where this came from.